Alright, welcome back everybody, hope you're doing well. We're once again talking about Fedmyster and Pokimane. The Pokimane saga continues, and I genuinely hope that this is the last Google Doc I have to talk about, because at this point, this is more reading than I've done in the last 4 years combined. Pretty much Fed has made another Google Doc, responding to Pokimane's Google Doc, responding to Fed's Google Doc. These people can't even make videos despite being YouTubers and Twitch streamers who stream like 10 hours a day, dude. Once again, if you're not caught up with the drama, go watch my previous videos, or just go about your merry life. You don't need to know this drama, it's dumb. So yeah, pretty much the whole issue pertains to Pokimane supposedly manipulating Fedmyster and using him as like this backup boyfriend type of thing, and then wanting like one of their staff fired or something. Pokimane thinks that she was very straightforward with Fed, and Fed was like, nah, you're playing with my heart. Now you'll be surprised to find out that in this doc made by Fed says that Poki lied. Wow, big surprise. And in the previous doc made by Poki says that Fed lied. Wow. I've never been more surprised in my entire life. The two people that are fighting are calling each other liars. Wow. So Fed says that she misrepresented the screenshots, and he still believes he's in the right and she's in the wrong. He also says that I never brought up the idea of getting Yvonne fired. If you don't know who Yvonne is, you're probably a lost cause at this point. Yvonne and Lily are two people that made these accusations against Fed of being inappropriately touched. And Yvonne and Lily also responded to all this Pokimane Fed drama. Yvonne is like, I love Poki, Fed sucks. I mean, she's being employed by Poki, but yeah, you know, that's what it is. Meanwhile, Lily is like, I care about Fed and I will still be his friend. Those are her exact words on stream, like a couple days ago, which is very, very weird, considering this is a guy who you accused of inappropriately touching you. Like, why would you be friends with your supposed harasser when he has no control over you? There's no gun to your head or anything. Like, Fed is completely out of the picture, so why would you still willingly associate with him and still be friends with him? That confuses me so much in this situation. Like, it just, I don't know, man, it's so confusing. I feel like everybody's hiding so much and everybody's been caught in so many lies, it's actually nuts. Like, none of these people have any sort of credibility at all, and at this point it's like, we're just laughing at some characters on some screen or something. Anyways, you can come to your conclusion at the end of all of these videos, all the 3 videos I've made on this. So yeah, let's go over Fed's document, and please do subscribe, because I am genuinely suffering here. If you haven't read my last statement regarding all of these, please do. I want to start off by addressing comments from friends and other individuals about how they believe I leaked the document myself. This was profoundly false. The individual that went behind my back and leaked my private document to the public made a statement himself, which further corroborates that it was against my wishes. Disclaimer, don't expect some nuclear document that'll expose anyone and start more silly drama. That's exactly what you've done. I mean, like, that was never the goal or purpose from the very start. As you'll come to read and understand, my original document was for my own therapy and never intended for the public. I mean, that may have been your intention, but now that the document is public, like, literally nobody cares who's right and wrong anymore. Everybody's just sat here laughing at both parties at this point. I want to first mention that I was being very careful with who I shared the document with. Very, very careful that it actually got leaked. I came to trust one of the more dedicated members of my community, just as I had in the past with many of the people I've come to be close friends with, and some even have come to help me with my day-to-day business. This person I'd put so much trust in would maliciously go behind my back and send individuals part of the documents in hopes for a leak or a reaction. With no success, he once again tried when he did not agree with the arrangement I'd come to with Poki. As I said in my last statement, this was a violent breach of trust and against my wishes, as I've been working hard to grow, heal, and move on from everything. To be very clear, the document was made as a form of therapy for myself to address my concerns about the way Poki portrayed me in her stream. All of this has nothing to do with trying to bring up old wounds. I wanted all of this to stay private and handled privately. I can't begin to tell you how stunned I was when I suddenly saw the document on Destiny's stream. I want to move on and move forward just as everyone involved. You know, the thing is, both Poki and Fed are like, I wanted everything to be private, yet they keep releasing more Google Docs. Like, I understand you want to defend yourself, but at this point, like, everything's been said. Like, nobody trusts either of you at this point. Okay, quick interjection to this whole thing. So, Pokimane actually responded on her Twitter to the Fedmyster Google Doc, saying, "Who asked lol?" You know what's really funny about this whole thing is that initially, Fed and Poki are taking this so seriously. The internet starts clowning on it because nobody cares about them anyways. So, and now Poki's gone into like, oh yeah, I don't care about it. It's all a joke. Like, you're you're like, people are literally clowning on you. You 100% care about it. Okay, back to the document. After the leak, Poki and I both agreed to do joint statements. Hers in the form of a stream, and mine as a document, where we would both own up and acknowledge our differences and perspectives and then move on. Poki wasn't happy with the way the public received her first stream, and as a result, she spent the last few days conjuring up a document of her own. After reading it, as she cherry-picked screenshots, attempts to distract the reader from the larger issue that I was trying to portray. I'm going to be discussing everything she brought up here. I've never once tried to deny any accusations made to me by Yvonne or Lily. As Poki likes to remind everyone over and over why this is all happening to begin with, I would like to remind her that this has absolutely nothing to do with that at all. What this does have to do with is the misinformation that was thrown at me by her and her alone. As I said in my most recent statement, I've come to a better understanding of her and why she said some of the things that she said. I still, however, strongly disagree with the careless portrayal of me in front of millions of people. Working with Yvonne in offline TV. She firstly includes text where I complain about Yvonne's unwillingness to work with me. I never tried to hide this fact and even directly mentioned it in my original leaked document. I personally never brought up the idea that Yvonne should get kicked out of offline TV ever. What I did do is bring up my concerns to people in the house. We all talked extensively about our options and what we can do to motivate her and fix what we currently have and save moving out as a last resort, but still remain in her position as management. This is pretty much just a whole lot of he said, she said, because Fed is like, I never wanted Yvonne fired, when there's screenshots saying he wanted Yvonne fired. Poki's like, I never wanted Yvonne fired, when there's screenshots saying you wanted Yvonne fired. Everybody just wanted Yvonne fired, dude. That's the only conclusion we can come to from these damn Google Docs. My purpose of bringing up this information was to mention that in no way was I trying to get Yvonne fired. Oh my god! It 100% had to do with her lack of excitement and willingness to help with offline TV projects when it's the only reason she's in the house. And if you read my original leak statement, you'd know that this wasn't surprising to me because of how Poki would privately portray her to me when she used to work for her as well. She continues to show more text proving that I did in fact bring up my concerns to people in the house, which again, I never denied. The incident between me and Yvonne was in December 2018, and these showcase texts that take place in October 2019. Oh my god, this was like 2 years ago. Wow. I had zero interest in firing her over what happened between us, and I brought up my concerns in the house because I was 100% focused on making OTV more successful. Listen, when I look at all of this, like, at the end of all of this, right, nobody's gonna like either of you guys, because with the release of more and more Google Docs, your privacy just keeps getting flushed down the toilet and just flushed like 18 more times, dude. Random internet viewers are getting to see the most personal and embarrassing things about you, and it's just a lose-lose situation. Like, maybe you'll convince some people that, hey, Poki was actually way worse than me. As if the internet needs to know that. There's literally 5 controversies involving her in the past, and we already know she's not the best of people. So it's like, just stop at this point. Poki's justification for all of this, pretty much like wanting Yvonne fired, was that she was worried about offline TV, and they had a history of hiring core employees that later became content creators. Then we have the Steve situation, where pretty much Poki was freaking this guy called Steve, while simultaneously leading Fed on. And apparently, right, this Steve guy, according to a Reddit user, like, some Reddit user theorized that this Steve guy was actually Fitz. You know the guy that banged Caterino, helped Caterino cheat on Carson. So pretty much this guy on Reddit was like, Steve is actually Fitz, and then Fitz actually responded saying, ding ding ding, you got the answer. Like, we can't tell if he's actually memeing or did he actually bang Caterino and Pokimane, dude. Ultimate Chad. If this is true, dude, Fitz is actually a maniac, dude. My god. Initially, with the Steve situation, I apologized because I felt I breached her privacy. In that moment, I didn't feel like I was lying because it was common for us to say, let's just be friends, and then totally act another way and then relapse. As to the psychology of it all, I didn't bother to challenge her when she confronted me about Steve, as I've always dreaded fighting or arguing with her because I felt like she had a lot of power in whatever we had, and I cared for her too much, and that most of what she said I would tend to agree with to avoid conflict. I now know that this was one of my issues, the fear of confrontation, and I should have just talked things out more. Okay, pretty much he's saying that he just kind of went along with whatever Poki was saying because either A, he was in love, or he's afraid of confrontation. Now this same screenshot has showed up in 3 Google Docs. First time it was on Fed's side, then Poki put some text and she's like, oh no, this screenshot actually supports me, and now Fed put some more pink text and he's like, yeah, no, these screenshots actually support me. Pretty much Pokey is like calling Fed to a hotel, and then Pokey says that, no, I wasn't calling him. I was like, I was implying that all three of my female friends are coming to Fed's place or whatever, and it wasn't like a one-on-one thing. And Fed is like, no, it was a one-on-one thing. And then she's asking for him to beg and whatever. Pokey's just like, this was a joke. Fed's like, no, it wasn't a joke. He's explaining my feelings. She's explaining my feelings because she knows I want to stay with her. Once again, Fed clarifies why he's actually responding to this, because she tries to put into question my credibility and further pushes the narrative of manipulation. There were a lot of screenshots I hadn't got to explain because I had stopped working on the original doc and I didn't want it out. I should also point out that Pokey said in her stream and in her statement that she told me way back in March 2018 that she wanted to be friends, which is true, but my whole point of the leaked doc was to show the on and off again cycle. This text happened in December 2018. Now this is definitely something he caught Pokey on, because Pokey was like, in March, she told him, I just want to be friends. But then after that, she's still flirting with them, talking about these beds and stuff, so it's like, you didn't tell him you just wanted to be friends, so you're definitely leading him on. Pokey likes to point out at the time she told me she just wanted to be friends, this happened a few times. I would eventually accept this and start to see and meet other girls, hang out with them outside of OTV, and then inevitably always return to her grasp when she'd show me signs of hope. Okay, so now we see that Fed also kind of lied here, because from the way of his first Google Doc, it seemed like Fed was always with Pokey the entire time, and he's like, he was just like leeching onto her for any sort of affection, and Pokey was the one dating all these other guys. But now he says that he was also seeing other girls. So obviously she also thought that, oh my god, dude. You're both just bold-faced liars. I've literally caught both of you in a lie here. Honestly, the question at this point is who lied less? And that's not a good question to ask when you're trying to make yourself look good. Conclusion, thank you. We are finally at the end of the damn saga. If anybody releases another Google Doc, I will actually jump out the window. Please don't. In closing, I want to once and for all end this. That's exactly what Pokey said in the last Google Doc. It's not gonna end, man. Pokey's gonna want to have the last word, and she's gonna be like, oh, I wanna, blah, 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 Fed's lying, right? Both of us can keep digging into messy private DMs, but the whole point was to show that it wasn't as black and white as Pokey originally showed. It should be obvious by now that we have completely different interpretations as to what happened in our past, and as we both said, the truth is probably somewhere in between. I know nothing said here or anywhere absolves me of my wrongdoings, but that was never the point. Rather, when I wrote this, I felt completely betrayed and wanted to gather my thoughts and information to understand her and my issues better. Again, I've never disputed any claims made by Yvonne or Lily. I know I crossed boundaries and disappointed a lot of people, but now know that I'm working every day to become the best possible version of myself. This was 2 years ago and you're still talking about it. I never had any intentions of this being public, and I very much regret that it was leaked. I want to move on and start a new chapter in my life. Might as well if you've written like 3 books at this point. A new chapter won't hurt. The time I spent at OTV was some of the best parts of my life. You sure about that, dude? And I'm thankful for every moment, but it's time to leave that all behind. This will be the last statement I make on this matter. Think of me what you want, but judge me on facts, not careless renditions of my character with things I know to be false. At the end of the day, it's very clear to me that everybody that has read all this unnecessary drama, that both Pokey and I have made mistakes. I feel we have both learned from our mistakes and have grown as people. I mean, I highly doubt that. I wish nothing but the best for all involved, but it's time for me to move forward. I hope you all can too. FedEx. Thank you for that absolute novel, J.K. Rowling. That was truly something else. In final conclusion, the Pokimane saga is the most boring thing I've ever talked about. At the start it was interesting, but when you keep making 4 more Google Docs, it's boring. There's also some other drama on Twitter where she was apparently a TERF, and it was like her Discord mod being transphobic or something, and maybe not her, like, I don't even know. I couldn't even be asked to talk about it, but at this point, you've probably run out of popcorn, you've bought like 10 bags and you've run out of all of it, so it's time to end it, right? Hope you guys enjoyed it at least a little bit. That's all I can ask. I try to make it remotely interesting, but trust me, it's really hard. Smash like, subscribe for 400k, and I'll see you guys next time with hopefully something more interesting. Bye!